Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of gentlemen. What is this show called? Come on.
Pre-match Muti.
Muti.
Oh, nice.
Muti.
Did anyone notice that Wonga isn't carrying the same energy today?
Wonga wanted that Muti yesterday, guys.
He
What
needed that
happened?
Muti
What happened,
yesterday.
Wonga? What happened, Wonga? Are you flat, Sam?
No, look, we weren't flat. Look, I think we played well, guys. I think Man City.
No, I'm not asking about Arsenal. I'm asking, are you flat?
Yeah, no. Look, the defeat has killed me. I can't lie to
Are
you.
you? Okay, yeah, he's flat. He's flat.
Yo,
guys.
I'm
flat.
trying, but yes,
he's flat.
it's killed
He's
me.
flat like a tire that's went through a big pothole.
That is my
And even
chance
these,
again.
I've got these kids at coaching. They're like young kids, like 9 and 10, and they're tuning me. I always tune them because they support Man City. Like, you guys are not true supporters, what, and they were tuning me. They're like, "There's no ways you're gonna win," blah blah blah. So when I see them next week, I'm gonna flip and have it. So it's not over for me yet.
Sorry, Wonga. Sorry, Wonga Denga.
You're saying sorry, Wonga. February is not your month. That's what Jason
Bro,
said.
the whole February.
All right, gents. Wonga, did you get that out of the way? Because we're going to be talking about your team now, but let's just tell everyone what's on the agenda for today. We're obviously going to be covering the Arsenal loss to Man City. We're going to be talking about takeover updates between Man United, Spurs, Liverpool, and then we're going to be looking at the Super League versus the Premier League. That's an interesting topic. It's largely spurred on by the Jamie Carragher sort of debate in the studio, and then we got Newcastle versus Liverpool coming up this weekend. Big game because can Newcastle hold on to top four? That's what we need to be looking at. And can Liverpool possibly flip things around? And then, of course, our usual betting corner. Gents, before we, let Wonga have the floor, Settle, what is your overall thoughts of this game last night?
Oh, man. One of the best games I've seen in a long time. Quality from both sides in terms of just the intensity, guys. The atmosphere at the at the Emirates. Amazing atmosphere. Quite interesting as well. I think from a Pep perspective, I think I think Nick might not like this reference, but I think we saw these delay tactics from Newcastle at the Emirates against Arsenal, and those delay tactics worked quite well to slow down the game. So when the ball goes out, take a bit of time to get the ball back into play. And that's where you saw Edison getting a yellow card, and then Walker also got a yellow card but he got a yellow card for coming back on the field. So they got these little fouls and delay tactics in terms of starting play again, and that's because the intensity at the Emirates is intense. The fans are in it, the players are in it. They just want to play like quick. But you slow them down. And Newcastle did that quite well against them at Emirates. And then I think Pep tried to do that, especially in that first half. And then I think in the second half, obviously, they got hold of the game a bit more. Even though surprisingly, they had 36% of the possession. But I think more than anything, guys, when you get your opportunity in a match, guys, you need to take your opportunities. And Nketiah had a couple of opportunities and he didn't take them. Whereas Haaland had one or two opportunities and took one of them. So I think that's the difference, is the quality in attack. That De Bruyne goal in the first half as well just shows, man. One chance, one goal.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, before Wonga just opens up the floor and starts putting the trigger here, I mean, overall, your impression of the game, what did you think for the title challengers, or should I say the title holders pushing for their title, retaining it again?
Yeah, I think from what I saw, as a neutral, I thought it was a great game to watch. I think it was clear that those were the two best teams in the league at the moment. I agree with Cello, though. I honestly think that's the difference. The difference between the two teams is in the two boxes. Not making as many mistakes in their own box. City, obviously, shutting them out, obviously barring the penalty. And then, just having that quality in the final third. I think, Arsenal have proven that they do have the quality, but, is Nketiah going to win you a league title? That's the question that everyone's been asking. And he needs to deliver on a platform like that, especially with it. I think we speak about two chances, the two headers. I think the easier chance was the one that came across the goal quite quickly. But I firmly believe if he uses his left foot there, he taps that in. So I think there's 3 golden opportunities for Arsenal to score. But, it's not over. But I would say this is a great victory for Man City because Arsenal still have to go to the Etihad. So from a neutral perspective, great game to watch end to end. And the quality of City in that final third just proved to be the difference, unfortunately, for Arsenal and Wanga.
Right, Wanga. I mean, was it a massive opportunity lost there for Arsenal and Arteta?
Yeah, I think it was. It definitely was, Claudio. And to be fair, I think Arsenal. I think they did rise up to the occasion. I think everything was just unfortunate. I think in all of this, I think even the Arsenal fans. I've seen many of. I mean, obviously, if you guys, I'm sure you've seen the Arsenal TV. You've seen many of them slating Nketiah. But I think, I've also. I was on the show as well. I've also said that. And I believe that Nketiah is not good enough for us, Said the same thing. No, listen. You listen where I'm going. Listen where I'm going. I'm not finished. I'm not finished. No, I'm not finished. You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening. You're not listening to listen to my point. You don't listen to my point. I'm saying that I was also being there, and I'm saying I did. There was a point in time where I did say Nketiah was not good enough. Yeah. There was a point in time where I did say Ramsdale is not good enough for us as well. But they stepped up and they proved wrong. We were on top of the log for a long time, and we enjoyed that as Arsenal fans being on top of the log. Now we go against City, and I mean Brentford. We play against Brentford. We lost to Everton, number one, team we should have beat. We drew against Brentford, and people say, yeah, the ref this, the ref that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they do what they do. These things are going to happen. I still think, despite those decisions, we should have still taken the win there, but we didn't. And here we come against Man City. It's Man City, guys. It's flipping Man City. You've seen the quality they present. And I think Nketiah has proven that. I mean, he stood in for Jesus properly. He stood in for him well, And now we go in and yes, I agree. The chances he missed were sit, or some of them were sitters. He could have done different things in all the situations. Him being a professional, but I don't think now is a time for Arsenal to be slating the players. I think now is a time that they try and get behind a player like Nketiah, try and actually support him, like the same way they started the match.
Why?
Yes.
So it's an interesting angle because what I'm asking you was, is it an opportunity missed? Now, the two guys below us have spoken about the fact that you had chances, you didn't take the chances. Man City took the chances. Now you're talking about turning on your own players. Is that what it's come to? One loss, all of a sudden, now you're turning on your players. What's going on here? Because I was just asking what your overall impression, where you at, and now you're saying, no, people are turning on our team.
These guys will sing a song, guys.
No, look, I'm telling you.
Get in the room.
Yes.
That's the song.
But you see, that's the thing, Silo. We used to, I was singing that, and I would still sing it. The question is now, people have quickly turned on Nketiah, and I'm like, whoa, guys, it hasn't even been a month. Well, it hasn't even been 2 weeks since we were singing that song, and now just because we've lost to Man City, I mean, it's Kevin freaking De Bruyne. The guy's lethal. Every time I play, I haven't looked at it, but I'm 100% sure every time we've played against Man City, Kevin De Bruyne has been the problem. He's been the reason we've lost the game. He's been the reason we lost the game. And again, he's shown it. And for me, it's not a surprise. Yeah. And it's Haaland as well. But for me, this is a time we need to get behind our team. Arteta was not in the top 4 last season. Where did we finish? We finished, 8th or 6th? I mean, we're bottom of the log. We're close to bottom of the log at some point in time.
Okay.
He's climbed all the way to the top. He's kept us there for a while. And now people, I don't know, people are clearly forgetting where we were last season. I think people must just chillax. Try rather get behind the players, push them.
Yeah,
I think also we just need to be clear. And it's exactly sort of what I was alluding to earlier. Big games like this, and over the years, it's always been the case. Newcastle's only maybe in the conversation now after 20 years. So it's, the three of you will probably, understand what I'm saying. But it's not generally down to a team dominating another team when these games come around. It's generally a
Active, yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
It's a set piece, or it's a moment of magic. And that's exactly what we saw last night. Tomiyasu makes a mistake that he shouldn't be making. Set piece, penalties, and moments of magic. I thought De Bruyne's goal was spectacular. I thought Haaland's
great
goal
goal.
was incredible. And I thought
Yes.
Arsenal were very cheap in giving their possession away at times, and City will hurt you. So the reality is, you look at the possession stats, it's the worst stats that Guardiola's had at City since he's been there. But in those games, if you're going to win titles, it's moments of magic, it's set pieces, it's mistakes, and they capitalize. So that might be the difference, Wonga. And unfortunately, you might need to learn the hard way, and Arteta might need to learn the hard way, is that's how you win titles. And maybe Arsenal will be stronger for it. And I hope for your case, you guys are.
And also in saying that, Nick, in saying that, we also don't need to beat Man City to win the league. That's the honest truth about it as well. Yeah. So I think people must just
that's true, but
relax.
Also Man City aren't losing to Everton though. That's the difference.
Hey guys, Man City, how many games? Man City also lost the season. I think we've lost the same amount of games. That's what I'm trying to say. They're also a vulnerable team this season. It's a tricky season this year. But also Arsenal, we need to also understand. I won't lie to you. Yes, I've been singing this song, but we need to understand where the heck we came from. We can't be splitting our players now. We can't be splitting them like they won the league last year.
Okay, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. And okay, I'll actually put it to everybody else. If you guys were in Arsenal's position, do you think losing to Man City in the reverse fixture, and that being the catalyst, obviously, for the rest of the games being a foregone conclusion that Arsenal are going to win everything or every game, that will be enough? Has Liverpool won? Liverpool, when they won the title, they beat City at least once.
Centimeters. Man United won the titles this game that they won. They beat their challenger. Remember the ball? Remember that ball didn't cross the line where like 90% of it was over. That's what lost us the league. That's I think what you're getting to there, Nick.
I just personally think you got to at least beat your competitor once. I just don't see them getting into this position now. And I said it to you, Wonga, a couple of weeks ago. The game against City is going to define the season. If you won this game, I think it was yours to lose.
Or even a draw. Even a draw.
But hang on, Wonga, do you not remember these gents? These guys also came out saying it is Arsenal's to lose before this game and saying you've got it in the bag. There's been a lot of those comments. Remember that as well?
Yeah.
So
a lot's happened since then. Arsenal have dropped 8 points.
It's been a couple of weeks. It's literally been 2-3 weeks.
They've dropped 8 points
since Everton.
They decided to lose against Sean Dyche.
Sean yeah, but Sean Dyche does his thing, man. You know that guy's
the catalyst.
Yeah, he's an army man.
But look, I think, but nonetheless, I mean, they are still positives from the game. I truly believe.
This is what I was waiting for. This is what I was going to kick off with, Wonga.
I mean, they broke. They like Nick said. I mean, there was that one when Nketiah's chances. There was even the one where they set up Saka. I mean, he had so much time, he didn't even know what to do with it.
He should have shot.
Shaka and Saka.
Yes, Saka. Yeah. There were those things, but again, like I think City, they had those players like the fact that player De Bruyne, he doesn't stuff around. Yeah, he knows. He told himself beforehand, if he's getting a chance there, he doesn't give a damn. He's going to lace it.
Nah, he's going to hit it.
Yes.
But let me ask you guys this question. If Arsenal put all their eggs in one basket and they went to go get a world-class superstar of a striker, would you be in this situation? Would you have won last night's game? Because I don't think
the question is though, who would have? Let's give us a name, Nick. Let's give us a hypothetical there. Who would they have brought in that would have been that? Because I mean, it's easy saying it's the same as Chelsea. Chelsea looking for a striker. Could have been.
I don't know, Nick.
Is it him? Is it a? Yeah, he's not an out and out, but I mean, is it someone? I just don't see Nketiah being the main man to lift Arsenal over the line and lift a Premier League title
this season.
Like, it just doesn't. It doesn't equal. It doesn't equal. If you've got Nketiah and you've got Jesus, then you're talking a different story. But now, Who do you play down the middle if Nketiah gets injured? You got Martinelli, who you don't really want to put there because then you got to move Trossard to the left, and then you got no backup for Trossard. So I'm just thinking, I think you've left a little bit short in that department.
I agree.
Whereas everybody else is beefed up. Look at, I mean, as much as Celo probably doesn't like this, and you know, Vejos is what you're going to get. What you see is what you're going to get. But they went out and he got his man. He got who he wanted to get, and he's probably delivering more than maybe we expected. Darwin Núñez went to Liverpool, probably underwhelming, but he's probably a project for the future. Newcastle got Isak. I think he's going to be decent. Yeah. But you've got Chelsea spending the money. Man City got Holland. Arsenal got Jesus, who got injured. So it's a little bit unfortunate, but I just think in the position, 8 points clear in January, I would have put all my eggs in one basket, gone to the corners of the earth and found the striker
hang on,
that
Nick.
would have scored.
I mean, you're saying this now. Wait, Wonga. He's saying this now, but let's see if Newcastle land up in the top 4, because the same argument could be said for Newcastle, saying, well, why didn't they break the bank in January to ensure that they get top 4? So,
but Isak is injured, man. So I think with Newcastle, right? They've got two good strikers, right? Obviously, I think one is a developmental player in terms of Isak. I think he's shown wherever he's played that he's been good. And they got Gordon, right? So I think Gordon adds something different to their attack. And the fact that Saint Maximin came back from injury as well, he's played quite well since he's been back. I think Arsenal.
Hey, Claudio, to your point, sorry, just before you carry on, I agree with you, Claudio. I think we left it short. If we don't finish in the top 4, it's because of that. We left it short. I'll be honest with you.
As you were there, so what did you want to finish off with there?
No, I'm saying the thing is, Arsenal had targets, in that transfer window. Yeah. They had targets. They wanted to get Mudryk. Obviously, he was already sold on going to Arsenal, and then obviously Chelsea, when they come in, they're going to blow you away. And similarly, they wanted a center midfielder as well to come in to be that at least additional player in the midfield. And then they had to end up with Jorginho because obviously they couldn't get their first target. So I think they had the right ideas in that window to get something to assist going forward. They just didn't get the guys they wanted, and I think that will be what cost them at the end of the season, because what you find is that Man City, right? You look at the options that they have in attack on the wider sides. They've got Mahrez, they've got your Grealishes, and then they've got Foden, and then they've got Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland in the number 9 position if you want to put them there alone. And obviously Alvarez can also play a number of positions. So I think Arsenal, that's the part that maybe won't help them. Wonga, 3 goals in the last 3 games, and if you count the FA Cup game, 3 goals in 4 games. So it's looking a bit shaky. But Wonga, I like the positivity in terms of saying, you've come from where you've come from to where you are now. I think you guys obviously forget where you're from to where you are now, and it's not over, Wonga. Don't forget, it's not over, Wonga. It's not over. I think you guys need to believe as a team because it'll be so much more satisfying.
Coach. Listen to Coach Celo, ladies and gentlemen.
It was so much more satisfying when you end second at the end of the season, because you guys had that hope, and we saw you had hope.
But like, just to ask you guys a question: who is a striker? Who would be a striker? Your guys' knowledge of European football is probably a little bit better, but who could they have got? Because that is a valid question, Claudio. I'm not too sure.
I mean, like a qualified out-and-out striker. If you're playing games.
Vlahovic at Juventus,
and they wanted him.
He rejected us. He rejected us.
Yeah, he rejected when he went to Juventus. He rejected you guys. But I was just trying to think, maybe just to take advantage of Juventus's financial troubles, maybe try go in for him again. But who knows if they would have sold him.
Guys, I truly think. I mean, Arsenal has put it, and times I've been doubting what they've been doing. I mean, in this up till now, but look, they've moved to first, and I think in Nketiah, just like he said it, I think they need to give him a bit more of a chance. I truly do think they need to do that. He got in the right positions yesterday. I mean, he's got a leap on him as well. I mean, for him to even get to those headers, I think was incredible. He's 23 years old. The fact is he didn't put them behind the net. And it would be a different story if he did score. But I still think I do think there is potential in him. I do think.
Yeah, look, I think a lot of this is not. I mean, this is the beauty of pre-match immunity, right? I didn't think this conversation was going to take that turn. I thought the conversation was going to be like, when we saw it, first thing you saw was, wow, look at that atmosphere. When have you ever seen the Emirates buzz like that? In how many years? You know, that's the first thing. There was certainly belief transmit. It's almost like the Newcastle factor. That's the one thing I wanted to comment 100%. On. The second thing was that they had Man City on the ropes. They did.
First off,
Pep got it completely wrong. It was the most Pep thing ever to play Silva at left back and get rid of two of your top first choice left backs like that. For me, and that's where you're going to look at the difference, and that's where the comments about getting a top class finisher is the difference. But I mean, that's the positive for me. And then in the second half, I think that's where the experience kicked in, and the Man City Pep Guardiola came out and said, "Cool, now we're going to take it to them and let's see how they deal with it." And all of a sudden, the anxiety stemmed all over the place. So it started off like a house on fire, and then slowly they started putting that fire out, and that was the difference. But it is positive. And even the conversations I've heard, or the post-match conference from a Arteta, I'm listening to it, I'm going, I agree with what this guy's saying. The game's done now. We move on, and we still got a game in hand. So whether or not you're going to win the league, the fact of the matter is it felt like to me the games that Liverpool and Man City have in terms of fighting for challenges. And that was nice. That was nice to go, wow, this is entertaining. I actually want to watch this. I actually want to be, and this is Arsenal. This doesn't feel like Arsenal. I don't know if anyone else got that sort of impression.
I definitely did. That's why I said that even in the Discord channel, I said the intensity was too much. You know what I mean? I think you could feel it, guys. Every single challenge, every single thing that was happening in that game. I think obviously the experience is a big factor, guys. I think City haven't been in a couple of title run-ins. I think that helps because they know the pressure of having to win every single game, having to win the big games, having to balance playing in Europe. Arsenal's going to be playing Europa League soon. How do they deal with that? Do they try and actually play some of their first teamers in the Europa League? But it'll be quite interesting. But I think that were Arsenal nervous yesterday because in the second half their passing from the back was quite poor, and obviously they made a lot of mistakes. Obviously the first half they made the mistake, they got the goal, but even the second half Zinchenko misplaced a couple of balls in that second half, and obviously there were some chances that City could capitalize on.
Yeah, that's where it crept in.
Yeah, but I guess this was the difference.
The overall feeling is that it's like a big brother against his younger brother, and right now it feels like Man City are the bigger brother club taking on 11
wins.
That's what it feels like.
11 wins in a row for Man City against Arsenal. 11 wins in a row.
Yeah, I mean, that's going back. But I think if you look at the personal aspect of it and you're going, we've let this man go, Pep Guardiola, I think they've got that sort of edge psychologically going, we know the ins and outs of this guy, and he's got that point to prove. I also found some of his pre-match comments quite interesting in terms of challenging the Man City players. So that was quite a different sort of stance in terms of managerial position. Maybe that's an experience of the manager not trying to rile them up so much. But gents, we're going to move over and we're going to start talking about the takeover update. Silo, you're going to kick us off there with where Man United are at, and then obviously Nick and Wonga, wherever you want to jump in from a Spurs and Liverpool perspective, please feel free. Let's hear it, Silo.
Yeah, so the news that I'm hearing from my intel in Qatar, I just got off the phone with some of our contacts in Qatar. And they've told me that the Qataris have made a bid. So I think with the Qatar one, it's very interesting, right? I think people have gotten a bit confused in terms of when we talk about Qatar, we're thinking about the fact that the sovereign wealth fund of Qatar owns PSG. Through their Qatar investment sports QSI, Qatar Sports Investments, right? So that is the vehicle that they've utilized to own PSG, and then now the Emir of Qatar, basically the leader of Qatar, is a Man United fan apparently, and what he's trying to do now is to buy Man United using another vehicle. So what they'll then do is that they'll have two separate boards, and they will not obviously, but that's what they say, they will not communicate with one another. The one side will be owning PSG, and the one side will be owning Man United. They haven't decided of what vehicle will probably will own Man United, but that's what they want to do. That he's been educated in the UK apparently, so he loves the UK. They put in this whole PR spin on it before, obviously. Buying the club, so that when he comes there, they say, "Oh no, this guy he was educated at this place and that place, and he loves Man United." That whole PR that they want to do before the actual takeover. But it's actually interesting.
So, do you know the amount?
So it's rumored probably around about £5 billion, £5 to £6 billion is the rumor. We'll probably get more information around that. But what I did see before the show is that there's a journalist from Qatar. He says that they had discussions with Liverpool before Man United, and Liverpool were only accepting a 49% share to be sold to them, and they weren't keen for that because they wanted full ownership, and hence they went to look elsewhere at Man United.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing we do know for sure is that obviously Qatar, these are the guys that are looking to purchase a club at the moment. I think that I actually believe they started off with investment opportunities with Spurs. They then made their way to Liverpool, and the negotiations have been going, or discussions at the very least have been going on for the last 3 months, up until the point knowing that Liverpool don't want to be giving full ownership, or FSG rather, don't want to be giving full ownership. And now it seems like that's been the straw that's broken the camel's back for them to go to Manchester United. I do think it's an interesting place for all these clubs to be in. And what is that rumor today there, Nick? Do you have any updates from a Spurs perspective? If Nick is still there, we might have lost Nick because I think he's got load shedding at the moment. From the Spurs side,
he's frozen.
We've got, I think it's Yan Najafi. He's a billionaire. His name's Yan Najafi. He's an Iranian-American billionaire. He's a chair of the MSC Sports Capital, and he's put in a bid at the moment. And I think it's $3.75 billion that he's put in. And what makes that quite interesting
trash.
No, so this is, on paper, as an Arsenal fan, you're going to say it's trash. But what I find quite interesting is a lot of these owners, especially from an American perspective, and what made Chelsea so, interesting to buy and why they wanted to buy Chelsea is because they're based in London. And for them, investment opportunities with regards to property and it makes it easier for them to go into London. And that's been allegedly one of the sticking points from a Manchester and Liverpool perspective, whereas now you're looking at a Spurs based in London, brand new stadium, looking at other investment opportunities around the stadium. You've got potential there. They just need to get a lot of the footballing aspect of it right. And if they get that right, it can be a powerhouse in terms of revenue making. Right now, it's the success on the pitch that's leading down to the downfall. But if you're going to compare, say, Liverpool and Manchester United asking for $5 to $6 billion, and you're going to go, cool, well, I can get outright ownership if I can just put in a $3 billion bid. It's a bit of a no-brainer if you're an American person who just wants to get into the game. If you're going to Liverpool and Manchester United, whatever they're going to spend on it, remember, that's just costing to buy it. They're then going to have to spend more to get the club up and running. And when you're comparing a Manchester United to Liverpool, right now, Manchester United's quite an attractive offer for many reasons. They got the global side, you got the audience already working with. But from a growth perspective, they can actually show a return in terms of the money spent because of where the stadium's at, because of where the facility's at, because of the audience they're already working with. So if they're getting that right, which they're seemingly getting right under Ten Hag, the footballing aspect, there's massive growth and potential there if they invest in a Manchester United. Liverpool right now, it's a bit of a trickier situation. And what FSG are trying to secure is money so that they can spend in Jan. And that's the biggest thing. They need to get whatever they're trying to get across the line before this next window opens. So they can go get their Jude Bellinghams and all the rest of it, because it's going to be a massive overhaul for Jurgen Klopp. And that's the only reason why I believe he's sticking around. But Liverpool are more hush-hush in terms of where they're leaking news at the moment. I don't know what your thoughts are.
But what do you think about this? The getting a minority shareholder. Do you think it will pass? Because I think it's a bit tough to get that minority shareholder, because what you do then find is that you don't have control as a shareholder, right? I think to be offered 49% is tough. It's tough, you know what I mean? I think all the oil money just wants 100% shareholding, because what they want to do is they want to use that vehicle as they see fit. And now you're going to give you get 49%, and then now FSG says, no, sorry, these guys can't come on a tour to Qatar. They have to go to America. They gotta go to Boston. They gotta go to Fenway Park. You know what I mean? So what do you think about that? Do you think you're more likely to maybe get some private equity investors involved there from the US?
I think, look, FSG are private equity investors in the first place, which is why they don't put any of their own money in, and everything they've spent from a Liverpool perspective is the money that the club has made. So to your point there, Siddle, if a Qatar is going to buy Manchester United or Liverpool, they're going to want to throw money at it just like the other guys are doing, for example, right? They're not going to want to go, we're going to make this sustainable, because they're going to try and make a quick turnaround of it, because that's what they need to do, because that's how they're going to maximize the vehicle. And when you look into FSG right now, they've gotten to the point now, and it's no coincidence that Chelsea went up for sale. Then they were like, okay, well, this is costing us money. We have a massive rebuild on the horizon. We're not going to be able to afford this. Let's see what the appetite is. And then all of a sudden, Man United kicked off their sales bid. So it became a bit tricky then, because now all of a sudden your markets sort of split up. And the difference, again, to that London conversation was Chelsea kind of had a list of suitors wanting to buy Chelsea because they liked the football club and they were based in London. So FSG were thinking, once we've put this club up for sale, we're definitely going to have some of these buyers come down and come and look into the market share. And those guys have said, no, we just wanted to be based in London, as an example. So that's quite interesting from that perspective. And to your point, it's a massive hindrance to this opportunity. And they've put out the feelers. They've gotten people wanting to buy the club. But again, they want the majority hold. And that's where and also that sort of complication is between the two partners at the moment, Henry and the other guy that he's speaking to. The one wants to completely sell it. The other one still wants a hand on it. So that's where these things get a bit tricky when you have Americans on board. Nick, I don't know what your overall thoughts are, seeing as you've seen a takeover take place at your club, and what you think of these possibilities for these three clubs can be if they get the right suitors in place.
Yeah, I think just before I start, if any of you are excited about Middle East money, do not ever criticize my takeover. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
I mean, Silo, I want to know what Silo, if they buy Man United, where's your head going to be at with regards to all of this?
Hey, man, I support Man United.
Oh, okay.
No, but I was never critical of Nick, because I wanted that Saudi money by my doorstep. Why would I be critical of Saudi money? You know,
I think it's just.
I'll go to Saudi Arabia tomorrow, man. It's just I can't buy alcohol, so I wouldn't go.
I just find it a little bit ironic, especially from Man United pro journalists. There's one Miguel Delaney who's very vocal against the Saudi ownership of Newcastle, but there's historical sort of articles that he's posted with regards to Saudi wanting to invest in Man United, and he was very pro it. So I find it quite ironic that obviously Man United's a much bigger proposition, and Qatar have their own issues with regards to human rights and how the World Cup was awarded to them and a whole lot of other things. But at the end of the day, is this sports washing? It probably is. And, you know, that's the way the sport is going. And unfortunately, or fortunately for the game, that's the way it's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if you see in the next 10 years, the Middle East will have a hold on the Premier League completely. Are we gonna stop supporting our teams for it? I don't think so. You know, there are the activists who say we shouldn't, but I can't see anyone on this platform right now or anyone who's watching us who would think that way. But for the game specifically, it is ridiculous amounts of money. Like these guys that own these clubs, and I don't know the ins and outs. And I know, Claudio, we spoke to that fella from Cash and Sport, I think.
Yeah.
Nobile,
that's him. That's him, yeah.
And I don't know if there's going to be a point where this all crashes down. I don't know how that looks, and I don't know how that would happen. But the money is just becoming more and more. And you know, what is Man United going to be worth when this set of owners, if they do take over the club, what is the club going to be worth then? Are they going to sell it for 10 billion? I don't know. No. It just sounds quite ridiculous.
No, I mean, Nick, I suppose it's going to bring us to the next topic. But before we move on to that next topic, Wonga, what is your thought on the sort of possibility of Spurs being taken over and becoming the best side in London?
Please look. I think, I think Spurs need to change a lot to be to actually start winning something. Maybe for them, I think it'll be a good thing. And then for us, I think we would then start. I mean, look at what's happened to Newcastle after they've taken over. Look what happened to Man City after they've been taken over. Most of these teams that experience these heavy takeovers start performing well. But the question is, how do you sustain it now? And now you've got but now you've also got what the question I ask myself as well is the same thing that is pretty much in line with what Nick is saying, is that, I mean, these guys are coming with a lot of money, then people are coming in, you wonder how sustainable it is. And also, I just wonder, I mean, like, now they've brought in the financial fair play, but how much does it actually do? I mean, if a team can just come in, I mean, what is its purpose? If a team can just come in like you see now, if a team can just come in with big owners and then expect a lot of money, I mean, what is the purpose of a financial fair play?
But I think to your point,
those are the questions I have.
Yeah, with regards to Spurs specifically, I think it's quite similar to, if I stand to be corrected, but similar to the Liverpool situation where Daniel Levy isn't the outright owner, he's just the chairman of the club, but he still wants to be involved big time with regards to Spurs. And I think he really has a passion for Spurs. You know, he's made a lot of mistakes, and I think he wants to get it right. I think that's a long-term or short-term goal for him. And from what so from what I've been reading and hearing is that it's around £3.5 billion that Spurs would possibly go for. And what I'm hearing also is that would probably be good business for, I think it's John Lewis who's the owner.
John Lewis,
You know,
and he's old. He's old. He's in his 80s, I think.
I think the biggest question that you would probably need to ask is how much of that is debt. Because
600 million. So that 3.75 bill, it was 600 million debt's going to be cleared, and that's a lot of it that's been spent on the stadium already. So when you consider that fact and they move forward with it, the money they'll make from ticket sales already, and then the relationship they've started building, side pitches on the side for the NFL. So they are looking, and that's why I'm saying that's why Spurs, from an American perspective, is looking
very attractive.
Very attractive. Modern stadium, you know.
Yeah. So I think from that perspective, it's probably a good move, especially for the owners, because if you say he's an old man and, you know, like if he just wants to cash in, but I think Levy, I don't know how much of a say he has, but I would think he's got a significant say. He probably wants to be involved. Whether or not this Iranian American wants him involved is the big question. But I mean, you're going to have at this point 6 teams that are owned by mega wealthy people in the Premier League, which is, and you're not even talking about Everton. That Mashiri is also worth incredible amounts of money. So it's scary. But I've said it before. You've just brought it up now. The Premier League, I think, is the Super League. Like if you look at it,
I mean, there was the debate, Nick, that was had, and it was that Guilherme guy, the Spanish sort of journalist that says a lot of things.
Balagi.
Yes, so he came up, and there was the argument where, you know, Carragher said, because there's the standpoint now between Real Madrid and Barcelona not liking the fact that these Premier League sides can outspend the rest of the other clubs and attract the players. So, for example, Real Madrid go after Jude Bellingham, they get a Jude Bellingham, right? Traditionally speaking, they go after Cristiano Ronaldo, they get Ronaldo. Now, they're not liking the fact that all of a sudden there's competitions in play from Chelsea getting involved, going, we're just going to throw crazy money at this. And the conversation is all of a sudden from a La Liga perspective is going, how do we make this fair across the ball from a European perspective? And the argument is, look, in the 90s, it was Serie A, no one complained. In the 2000s, it was La Liga, no one complained. And now, because the Premier League's come to the forefront and they've managed to do what they've done, now people are complaining. So the question is, should this Premier League be disrupted, or should the Premier League be the Super League like you always say there, Nick?
Yeah. Have you guys watched the documentary, the Super League documentary on Apple TV?
I was talking about it yesterday. They haven't watched it. I've watched some of it, yeah.
Do yourself a favor, guys. It paints a picture, and it exactly goes back to the point that it is inevitable that it possibly will happen because of just the way we are as a society and the new fans coming through, what they absorb in terms of, you know, being able to, you know, take in, you know, entertainment. You know, a youngster doesn't want to watch Burnley versus Everton on a weekend. You'd rather watch Juventus versus Man United as an example. So I think
Exactly.
the traditional side of football is probably losing its spark, but the standoff is between the fans and the clubs. And if you watch there specifically in that documentary, the people that saved the Super League from not happening was the English fans. It had nothing to do with the rest of the fans from the other clubs. And I think that those traditions are still strong within the fan groups, but how much of a say do they really have? Okay, they won that battle. But do they really have much of a say when you've got a billionaire from Qatar coming in? He doesn't really care. He just wants to make
Nick, I
money.
don't even think it's about the billionaire. I think it's like when you're looking at it, to your point, traditionally we are fans because of the message that's been passed down through the loyalty and the conversation.
Yeah.
I support the side because of my dad, etc., etc. Now, I mean, Wonga's kids are all supporting Man City, for example, and that's because of what they exposed to on their phone. And the phone's
Yes.
saying Man City is the best team because they are winning, and that's what they are
100%.
liking. And when you're looking at it, you're going, cool, all your diehard fans in the north there of Newcastle attend the games and they go buy the tickets. Yes, but the money comes in through broadcasting, and who's watching the game? It's your satellite fans.
Yeah.
The guys based in Asia, the guys based in Africa, the guys based in
making the money,
America.
yeah.
Exactly. And those are the ones that you're looking for the future, the ones that have access to smart devices, the ones that can stream, and the ones that are going to pay subscriptions for this. And that's where the difference is when you're looking at it. So the question is, I suppose, and that is why when you look at Real Madrid and you look at Barcelona and you look at Juventus still being involved in Super League and not pulling out, the Premier League going, hang on, our brand here is stronger than all of these. And because that's what we're trying to protect you. And I suppose the question is, what would you be open to doing in terms of, from your perspective, Selo, and then yours, Nick, and then yours, Wonga? Would you approach or adopt this new 80-team sort of Super League that guarantees a minimum 14 matches, but it's completely fair, allegedly? It's just someone else's pocket that you're going to be paying. But that is the case, or would you stick with the Premier League?
No, man, I think we need to keep the traditionalist aspect of it. I think obviously the money getting out of control it's out of control, but at least, guys, with the Premier League, the TV revenues are shared evenly. You've got a Fulham doing quite well this season. You've got a Wolves some years back doing quite well. It gives an opportunity for the Premier League to actually compete in that regard. La Liga, it's their fault that the two biggest clubs get majority of the revenues. The revenues are not split equally. It's only recently that they've tried to adopt that model. But previously, obviously, it was quite skewed. Where the top two got the most, and then it filtered down to the other clubs. So I think where we are right now, Champions League being where it is, I think what will likely happen is that proposed Champions League model that was spoken about and also spoken about in the documentary. I think that will probably be what they head towards. That's as a legacy club or whatever, that kind of like they use like a coefficient to try and see which is the best legacy club to still include them for the next edition, for instance. So like for instance, like a Juventus, for instance, this season, for next season they wouldn't be able to qualify because of their league position, but they could possibly qualify because of their legacy points. I think they'll probably try and do something along those lines, because I think the strength of the respective leagues right now is pushing back against the Super League. But yeah, I think it's not over, guys. It's definitely not over.
Is it something that you want? Yes or no?
No, I don't want Super League, man. I don't want Super League, guys.
What is the proposal? What is the proposal? How is the 80-team thing working? Is it separate to the Premier League? It would replace the Champions League, because that's what the initial that was the initial concept. It was going to replace the Champions League. Those teams wouldn't play in the Champions League, but they were still going to play in their league. They were just going to play more European games. Is that the same concept for the 80-team?
Yeah,
concept?
That's a similar concept, but I
Correct.
think long term it's something that they would focus on. So if it's successful, then they would just start growing it and growing it and growing it, like the Premier League has done, for example.
Yeah, and what I would say is, I think there's going to be a big standoff between FIFA and UEFA, because if you watch the documentary, there's clear indications that FIFA were involved, Gianni Infantino specifically. And if you've just seen, they've just launched with Patrice Motsepe the African Super League. So I can see that, and FIFA run football in the world. I could see them potentially, in a way, allowing it to happen, but at their own risk, because the members that vote for the FIFA president and the presidency, the majority of them and the most powerful of them are from UEFA. So it's a very difficult situation for FIFA, and I strongly believe that they work pro it. That's why I don't think it will go away anytime soon.
You
called it last year, a year and a half ago. You called it,
and you saw with now FIFA's proposed to expand the Club World Cup from 2025. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They wanna expand it and get it to 32 teams, guys. 32 teams
Yeah, that's
for a
crazy.
Club World Cup to be played in June 2025, guys. So that's what they want from 2025. So already you can see what FIFA's trying to angle in at. They're trying to enjoy in the fruits of club football, basically, right?
Yeah.
They wanna go and extract
Exactly.
extract as much possible from club football, which is like with the Club World Cup, and obviously they would have supported this proposed Super League.
Because who makes more money? UEFA make more money than FIFA. It's
UEFA, yeah,
proven.
by
So
far more.
UEFA were asked. Sefrin was asked by Infantino if he would approve or if he would support a World Cup as such, and apparently end of last year, he said categorically no, because what is a Club World Cup in a 32 team format? It's a Super League essentially.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, guys, this has nothing to do with wanting to see glamorous football. It's all about money. Like, it's not about Man United playing Barcelona and Liverpool playing Juventus. It's all about money.
Yeah,
And
but if these decisions are being made, the ones that can have the say right now, they want to have their say and they want to have the piece of the pie. And I suppose that's where the sort of autonomy comes in, where they can make their own money as opposed to buy to rule. Yeah, Wonga.
I'm not for it, Claudio, if you're asking me.
Wonga's out. Nick's out. Wonga.
Yeah, look, I mean, just a quick statement, and I think all it shows for me at the end of the day is that there is, there's division in thoughts, and I don't think it's the last thing. If the Super League doesn't succeed, you're going to see something else. And just like you guys are alluding to now, I mean, there's 6 wealthy owners in the Premier League. It might as well, at the end of the day, I mean, what if everyone decides, okay, they're going to just pick at Premier League teams and the whole damn league becomes, every goddamn team becomes a wealthy team and becomes a Super League at the end of the day. But I mean, I think for me, look, I watch the soccer because it's entertaining, to be honest with you, whether it's the Super League or not. I'll be honest with you, I don't have any. I mean, yes, the history of it and everything is nice, but I don't have any allegiance to it. So for me, at the end of the day, it's just what suits me. I mean, these owners
Wonga's down. If the 6 top Premier League sides decide, they're going to get together and say, screw you, Premier League, we are doing this.
Hypothetically, what if those other teams had to come to the Premier League? How would you feel about that?
So can you repeat that?
Barcelona, Juventus, PSG, Bayern, they join the Premier League. What would you guys think about that?
I mean, the concept on paper is crazy. I mean, don't you would do that with your friends playing FIFA anyway, right? You put a league together and select your team. That's what they're angling for. They're going, this is what the Gen X is after, and the Gen Zers and all the rest of them. So it's an interesting prospect.
And that's all they want.
It'll be crazy money, guys.
Yeah.
Yep, crazy money. I suppose this next topic is obviously the game that's coming up this weekend, and why this is an important game, Nick. I mean, you know this. You've got a game, in hand. Liverpool have a game in hand on Newcastle. I think the point difference currently is, 9 points between two sides. Obviously, Liverpool a long way from what they should be playing at. But I mean, where's your head at with regards to all of this right now? This game coming in, hosting Liverpool, and injuries, etc.
Yeah, I think we've hit a bit of a speed bump in the way, although, I keep having to pinch myself and not get too ahead of myself because, we sit in 4th. We still haven't lost at home. We've conceded 12 goals in the Premier League. That's unheard of, like from a Newcastle perspective. So I think we also, like, as a 13.
Still second best defense in Europe after Barcelona.
Yeah. So as a fan base, I think also there's a couple of fans that need to just sort of hold their horses. It's not like we're losing these games. We're just struggling to convert a lot of our chances, which is which happens with teams. I think also the break probably did affect us, like it's affected a couple of other teams. But I do think it would be, I think we will perform at home, which we have done on a sort of continuous basis. I think it's just going to be important to put in a very good performance before the World Cup. I don't understand, Jason. They won their first. You guys won your first game in 2023, and he's getting excited. Like he needs to just,
You're shaking,
Liverpool
Baba.
coming from where?
It was the manner in which the game was won, Nick. Come on now. You need to understand.
Against a team that's fighting relegation, Claudio.
Doesn't matter. You need to
No,
get confidence.
okay.
Maybe you can fight it. If that's fighting like a 12-year-old and you can do that and you beat them up and it makes you feel good, let's do that as long as it gets us 3 points.
I'm going to give you guys credit.
Of course, don't do that. We don't condone that behavior.
I'm going to give you credit towards the end of my little statement here, but I think we're going to have to put in a good performance to set us up nicely for the final. I do think losing Bruno with the suspension has killed us. I think it's similar to Man United in the sense that, having a Casemiro in the midfield, you guys are a completely different team.
I thought you were going to bring Bruno into the mix as well because you both have a Bruno.
Yeah, no. So our loss with him, I think his creativity, his forward passes are very important for us. So he's not going to be playing on the weekend. So I think if we can just have a bit of a plan B, Callum Wilson will be back, and I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Liverpool. I think it will either finish in a draw, which we've become notorious with, or Newcastle.
Well, it's four draws in the last 5. You haven't lost in the last 5, but it's 4 draws out of the last 5.
No, we have dipped. But what I would say about Liverpool, and I will give credit where credit's due, that's the first time I've seen Liverpool play in the way they have played historically. When I say historically, I say in the last 2 seasons, the way they move the ball quickly from defense to attack, their counters, their forward passes, their runs off the third man, or their third man running, should I say. Very impressive. But honestly, I think Liverpool need to get on a run to prove that they are back, because with all due respect, Claudio, they've done this. They've won a game and then they sort of whimpered to the next fixture, So I think if this game is important for Newcastle, it's as important for Liverpool to start a run that they can gather a bit of momentum. They've got Champions League games wedged in that. Where is Klopp's head at? Is Klopp's head at putting all his eggs in a basket to try fight for a top 4 position, or is he going to go down the cup route where he's got 7 games to potentially get
Klopp's head is at 1 game at a time, man. I think he's just trying to discover any kind of form, to be honest, based on what they've been going through. And when you're looking at it, I think the reason we got the success that we got on Monday, and I know this is going to be a hot take or whatever, controversial, whatever people might say, but the fact that Thiago was injured allowed us to, firstly, the fact that all these injuries kicked into place allowed a player like Buttigieg, the 19-year-old or 18-year-old, to step into midfield and really fight for a place, in a place that no one even knew existed for this kid. This kid's come in there as a centre-half, signed for £200,000. He's come in playing under 18s last year. Now all of a sudden he's looking like our best player in the last 6 games. He's the one carrying the team, which is ironic because he's only 18, I think it is. And what happened was in the midfield on Monday, we got Henderson back and we got Fabinho back with the kid, bringing the energy in the midfield. And all of a sudden, Trent looked a better defender because he had the cover of Henderson. You had Fabinho looked a better centre mid again because you had the energy of Buttigieg covering around him. But it wasn't only that. It was also when he's on the ball, his decision-making and his composure and the way he's switching play and the tackles that he's making. Look, I'm really hyping him up, but it was just the game that he had in particular. What I liked as well was, Salah getting on the score sheet. He's nowhere near where he's been last couple of seasons, but he got on the score sheet. You have Gakpo got his goal. And what I liked about Gakpo, all this talk about him playing on the left-hand side, going, that's where he was playing for PSV. Now he's playing down the middle for Liverpool, and everyone's questioning Klopp, saying, why? And we caught a glimpse of it on Monday, was the fact that, like a Firmino playing in the middle, he can hold the ball because he's big and physical, right? So he can bring the wingers into play. And that's where all of a sudden Nunes, because I was expecting Nunes to be down the middle, but I was like, no, okay, now Gakpo's looking a better player, because what he can also have is he's got the endurance to get up, which Firmino doesn't have. So he can hold the ball and then join into the attack, which
he can also run him behind.
Exactly. And I can kind of see, and he's physical, so I can see that thinking there. So, I mean, overall, the centre halves are a problem, but like Jason's already put there in the comments, we've got players coming back from injury. We've got Jota coming back. He's already in training. He made an appearance on Monday. We've got Van Dijk. He's training with the team. We've got Firmino's training with the team. So slowly, the bigger players, the Diaz is only going to come back second leg of the Real Madrid game. So it's very important to get a positive result against Newcastle. It's probably going to be a draw because that's what Newcastle are going to be set up to do, not lose. I think, and it's going to be up to whether or not Liverpool can score on the day. That's the thing.
To be fair, Claudia, I'm going to counter you there. We've dominated possession in probably 90% of our games this season.
Love it. Then it's going to work in our favor. Hear my words, everyone. If they're going to dominate possession, we'll hit them on the counter because we finally need to do it to someone else.
Oh, what a tackle! Sorry, just watch the Man United game. So if I say some stuff that
if I can just counter Jason saying you're the biggest threat, you need to beat Brighton. You've been pumped by them twice. I think they're more of a threat to us than Liverpool.
Yeah, pumped is an understatement. Carry on, Nick.
So just quickly, Claudio, that Lighty coming in, and I said it for a couple of weeks. I said the midfield looked tired, and I said there's surely someone in that youth system that because Klopp's not afraid of putting Lighties in the midfield or putting them in the lineup, throw them in there and see what they can do. But the one question I'm going to ask you is Newcastle undefeated at home this season, the only team in the league to do so. I think the atmosphere is very similar to an Anfield. It's a very difficult place to go to. Is the Lighty going to be thrown in the mix to go and try and get a result there?
No doubt, dude. He's the first name. He's the first name on the team sheet.
But is it because of there's no other options, or because
not even Nick? We had no other options. They played him. And since they've been playing him, he's been our best player in the midfield. He's been the best. And to the point where the fans are going, well, why is no one assisting this guy? The responsibility shouldn't be falling on an 18-year-old's shoulders. Yeah. And that's where it's quite interesting. He gets this game time, by the way. He's earned the right to start against Newcastle. The atmosphere, I like the fact that you point that atmospheric part to this equation, because if we're going to do that, I think what's quite interesting is the sort of tie between Liverpool and Newcastle. And somewhat where you're going, well, the one game you did lose this season was to Nick.
Yeah, it was.
It's like you like bringing up Brighton. So I'm just saying, there's something about psychological.
Like I said to you, that wasn't targeted at you. It was targeted at the viewer. And unfortunately,
but still, it's the same. They support the same team. It's good. It's.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Selo, if you remember that game, we had a goal disallowed that wasn't offside.
I know. At the end.
Yeah. They played
I remember
when there was only 5 minutes added on. So
guys,
I remember
VAR has had so many hiccups this season, guys. VAR has had so many hiccups.
But they helped Liverpool.
When are they? Oh, now they're helping Liverpool. When are they going to bring in the 3D sort of aspect where they're doing that they did in the World Cup and they did it in
the Champions League? They're working on that.
The Champions League. Serie A already has it, eh? Serie A already has it.
Yeah, they should have it. It makes sense.
At offside last night with Haaland, for example, you couldn't see the full side of it. Now on paper, he looked offside, but I wonder if, and I'm not trying to take anything away. No. You see, just off the eye. If we also go back to this is a whole conversation. We'll say this for next week.
You can't see behind Haaland. You can't see everything.
But also the guys, Nick, the guys that are
Mm.
operating the system are refs that have been reffing the Premier League for the same issue that Arsenal had on the weekend. These guys aren't equipped they don't understand how any of this shit works. They don't even understand how a line works with perspective. I go back to the artistic view of going, this is how perspective works. This is what happens at this angle. These guys don't even understand that, but they're the ones making the decisions.
That was offside for Brentford. Yeah, it's guys, it happens all the time. When Wolves were robbed a goal against Liverpool in the FA Cup, similar thing, guys, where they said the player was out of angle. You know what I mean? The robot kills that, guys. Robot just says line. You know, when Mbappe got what's his name, Nunes got a offside on Tuesday with Mbappe scoring that goal, they just said his knee was ahead of the player. Done. Finished.
Yeah,
easy.
Exactly.
And this I said this long ago as well. I said they just need to make this 3D. Surely they got technology. Do it. Easy. Done. Anyway, right. Gents, betting corner, first game of the week there. Wonga Denga, give us your quick fire, then Nick, and then Selo. Aston Villa versus Arsenal. Come on, let's hear it.
3-0 to Arsenal.
Boom. Jeez. Not Mr. Good Evening is going to get one over you there. Hey?
No. There's noise.
I think Arsenal will bounce back. I think it'll be a little bit closer than that. They've been leaking goals. Gabriel is looking a little bit suspect. He's got a mistake.
Very shaky.
So, yeah, I think
it was Haaland.
will be.
It
I think
was
you just need
Haaland.
to win the game, Wonga. I just think you need to win the game, however you win it, because you can't afford another slip up. So I
pressure.
think you'll win 2-1.
100%.
Yeah, I think it'll be 2-1 to Arsenal. I thought Mr. Good Evening could do something, but Arsenal are desperate right now, guys. I think 2-1 to Arsenal.
I'm going to go 1-1 draw. Mr. Good Evening is going to do something there, and then the Arsenal fans are going to cry. Right,
Cry
gents.
me a
Newcastle
river.
versus Liverpool there. Wonga Denga. Let's hear it. Let's see.
Newcastle versus Liverpool. 2-0 to Newcastle.
Hold on, Jason's saying 3-1 victory there to Arsenal. What?
Thanks,
What did
Jason.
you say?
2-0 to Newcastle.
To Newcastle.
2. They're going to score 2 goals, eh? Okay. let's see what it is.
100%. I consider
You know,
winning that game.
In their last 5
Theoretically-
games, can I just say this? In their last 5 games, they've only
Yes.
scored 1 goal. They've won. They scored
Their
3
home
goals
games?
in their last 5 games, but they're going to score 2 against Liverpool. Okay.
Their home
Yeah.
games. What about Newcastle's home
Scored
games?
3 against Leicester.
Look at Newcastle's home games.
I watched them.
1-0.
Look at Newcastle's home games.
They beat
Newcastle
Fulham
won.
1-0 at home.
1, 2, 3,
1-1.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 home
then
games. They've drawn 2. Come on.
You're as good
Yeah,
as
look
your
at
last game,
Liverpool's.
Mongo.
Yeah,
Lose
and then-
Liverpool,
and
lose
then also,
Liverpool
and then
away.
Claudio, and then also, if you count the League Cup games against Premier League teams, we scored a couple there. But yeah,
Have you seen Liverpool away?
Wonga says
Have you seen Liverpool away?
No,
Have you
we're
seen
not
Liverpool away?
I think we're bottom of the log for the away league. Let me just actually check this out.
Oh,
Faltered by
I
away.
should have said 4.
Yeah, Liverpool are 15th on the log by away fixtures.
And at home
They've
for
won.
Newcastle?
They've lost 6, drawn 2, and won 2.
What's Newcastle's home
Yo,
record?
it's bad.
Where
Home
they're on the log?
record. Let's just check. I'll just check that now. Your home record.
No, well, the home.
Like
log.
the home
they're
log.
fifth.
The home
They're
log.
fifth. They're fifth. So you
Yeah,
haven't
it's
lost
the
at home.
goal
You've
goals.
drawn 5 and you've won 6.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I don't think we'll concede. I think we'll wake
That's
up
the way.
from poor performance against Bournemouth, and I reckon we'll win 1-0.
Nick.
Silo, before you give your prediction, what's
Purple
happening there
score.
with Man United and Barcelona?
So just the game just went to halftime, guys. Now, so it's 0-0. There was a nice 1-on-1 that Weghorst missed. So it's still 0-0 at halftime. So you guys
That's
can catch the
only
second.
quality there for you, son.
You guys can catch the second half. Fuck off. You guys can catch the second half. Fuck off.
You guys should have
but
taken Chris Wood instead. He's Chris Wood's replacement.
20 million pounds for Chris Wood. Shit. That's how you know the market's gone crazy.
20
Right,
million
Silo.
pounds, guys. But I think
Come
this
on, you
game-
can't take that now. Now you got to
1-1.
give Liverpool something. 1-1.
1-1, guys. Sorry, guys. I have to give it to 1-1 because I don't see Newcastle losing at home against
Yeah.
Liverpool.
Okay.
Same
All right,
here.
guys. Can I tell you what's going to happen? The same thing that happened earlier this season. It's going to be tied. It's going to be 0-0. And Liverpool, Darwin Núñez is going to hit something off his elbow. It's going to come off his shin. He's going to fall over and it's going to trickle into the back. You know what? 1-0 victory. 1-0 victory there for Liverpool. All right. We got Man United versus Leicester. Wangadenga.
Oof.
Yo, Leicester came off a banger. They surprised me.
Two.
I did not expect
Two
that from
wins.
them.
2 wins.
Yeah, which is good. Madison back. Looks like he's pulling some things there. But Man United seem a bit solid, and especially their home form is also quite decent. Yeah, and I think maybe I think it'll be too much for Leicester. Who knows? Maybe they're on some fairy tale run now. Who knows? These 2 games. So I think Man United will win it. I would say 3-1.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think Leicester are so inconsistent, so they'll go win this game.
Yeah.
I mean, they could get pumped by Man United. I just
100%.
I think this period, Selo, I was reading something where like Klopp always complains about the calendar, but I think Man United have. Correct me if I'm wrong. In 61 days, it's like 21 games or something stupid like that. It's like a game
That's it.
every third game or every third day or whatever. It's just over 3.4 days. But
Yeah, no,
I
it's
think
crazy.
I think he'll get the result. I think he's quite good in terms of rotating. I thought Leeds were probably at least deserved a draw out of that game, but you guys are managing to win games even if you don't play well, so that's good for you. But I do think he'll get over the line. It probably won't be pretty because it will be ugly from tonight in terms of the travel and the heavy legs. So yeah, let's say a 2-1 win. Probably concede because Maguire will probably play that game.
No, but I think.
Oh, Harry.
You're right. We will probably we'll be a tough game. I think it's so busy right now. You've got the second leg next week at Old Trafford, and then we got the League Cup final. So it's just so many games, and I think that's where also it's fine margins. I think that game we played Leeds at home where we drew. It's just too many games. You try to rotate, and then sometimes there's not enough intensity at the start of the game, and then Leeds catch you out because they got all this energy. But I think with Leicester, we should get the result 1-0 or 2-0. So I'll probably stick to 2-0 on Sunday.
Yes, I just hope Rashford gets injured in the next 3 games. Please, guys.
Why would you wish that onto someone?
Because they're going to play him.
In the final. I don't care about Man United for the next 3 games. They must get injured.
I mean, Nick, right now, honestly speaking, would you take the trophy over top 4?
100%. Top 6 finish and a trophy. I'll take it.
I thought exactly that. Right, okay.
Listen,
I'm going to say 2-0 victory for Man United.
Selo, you would take a top 4 without a trophy.
Yeah, no, I'll take top 4.
Right, gents. Last game that we're going to be looking at, Spurs versus West Ham. Largely because West Ham are fighting for their lives and Spurs are, Spursy. So let's hear it, Wangadenga. What do you think is going to happen here?
I think it's a draw 1-1. Both of them are not the way, and Spurs are trash, man. So I think 1-1. Don't know what you can get to them.
I think they're both underwhelming at the moment. I think Spurs getting a hiding the other day, but they also another inconsistent team beating City and then getting pumped and losing now to Milan. West Ham have drawn against Newcastle and Chelsea, so it's probably 2 good results. I would fancy West Ham, man. I would fancy West Ham. I think they'll be up for it.
Same.
Spurs were in Milan this week. I will be on trying to make sure that they get a good result, positive result next week, Tuesday or Wednesday. So I think West Ham can probably sneak this, maybe 2-1. And Conte is not in the dugout again because he stayed in Italy to get more treatment for the operation he had.
Maybe that's a good thing because he came back and then they lost 4-1.
No,
so maybe
he wasn't there then. His first game, I think, was the Milan game, wasn't it?
No, it was Leicester.
Oh shit!
It was Leicester. He came back and then they got pumped.
He's like, nah, I'm going back.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going back for that next league game.
I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be a draw. I think, but you know why I say that, guys? West Ham, when they were playing the game, they had Paqueta and Rice in the midfield. They were looking so good against Chelsea. And as soon as Paqueta came off, they lost a bit of something in that midfield. So I think it'll be a 1-1. If Paqueta was playing, I would say they would win, but I'll give it 1-1.
All right, so I'm going to go draw 2-2 as well there. So you and I are on the same wavelength. Gents, before we head out, what are your final thoughts? Let everyone know if they've made it this far. Obviously, they can also do in the meantime. Yes. Right, Wangadenga.
Yeah, man. To me, all the Arsenal fans, I think. I think this time. Yeah, don't lose hope. Get behind the guys. Look, there's no Arsenal fan that would have thought we would have been sick first for, I think, 3 months, 2 months. I don't know what it is, but there's no Arsenal fan that would have been thought would have been ahead of Man City at this stage.
At
competing.
Christmas, at New Year, at end of Jan.
Yeah, so now they're expecting even more from Nketiah and all these other guys. Chillax. Let's support the team. This where we are now it's more than heaven. Just select, enjoy, support the team. Don't stress yourself over these losses against what do they call them? These these financially doping teams.
This is Wonga talking himself.
Financially dopey teams. What the freak is that?
Yeah, that's what the guy.
Liverpool's focus is on Real Madrid. They need to make sure that they do not have a negative result against them. Their eye is firmly on the Champions League, and they're going to come up to this atmosphere here. You can see that atmosphere there, and the lighting that Claudio spoke about is going to crumble. He's going to crumble.
Nick, when you watch him play, you're going to say, what on earth what kind of gem do Liverpool have on our hands? That's just, this kid, anyway.
And then we'll just buy him in the summer, Claudio. Don't worry, son.
Silo's just looking forward to this Europa League game.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking forward to the game. Looking forward to seeing what United can do over the next couple of days. I think it's a big time for our season. Europa League, and the League Cup. So let's get some positive results out of all of them.
Yeah, and that's about the show, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming on tonight, and everyone who's joined us. You guys are amazing, and you know how to end the show. Come on, let's hear it. 3, 2, 1. Come on.
Stop it.
Stop it.